Hey, good morning, Jonathan. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to chat a little bit about what it was like coaching with me. And first, I'd love to just hear a little bit more. What's your business? What do you do?
Yeah, so I run an auto detailing business here in Eugene. I've been doing that for about 2 years now.
Okay, perfect.
Mhm.
Well, what was the problem or challenge you had when you decided to do business coaching with me?
Yeah, I would say like the biggest problem I had was trying to like articulate what the mindset is that I wanted. Like I didn't want to be an employee of my business. I wanted to start branching further and giving some responsibilities to my employee. But I just didn't know how to do that. I didn't know what that looked like and how to make that transition into like the goal setting mindset.
Yeah, you had a big picture goal, and you're like, I just don't know how to take the next steps. What do I do to actually bring this to life?
Yeah, I mean, I know what I want to do. I know what this business means for me in the long term, but it was just the puzzle pieces along the way was I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. And what is your big picture plan for the business?
To be more of a passive source of income. Like the things that I'm really passionate about, like coaching, soccer, not people. That for me is a huge passion, and like the teaching aspect, but it doesn't make money readily. And so I want this business to be able to fund me doing what I'm actually passionate about. And then, not having to work forever on, something that I don't like.
Yeah. And it's also been a business that's bringing you income while you're going through college too.
Yeah. I mean, this thing started as get me through college. Then when I'm done with college, I'll find a real job. But then like, as I worked it, I was like, oh, there's actually money here to be made.
Yeah, and it's just
So,
figuring out the process to be a business owner and turn into the CEO of your
yeah,
business.
exactly. Precisely.
What stood out to you about working with me that helped you the most along the way in these last 6 months?
I would say like there are a couple things. The first one was like organization. Like I didn't really know what to expect. It actually reminds me of taking a college class because like I think of this writing intensive that I had to do in the spring term where we had to write this 10-page paper. And for me, the 10-page paper in the business sense is the long-term goals, but I didn't know what to do building up to it.
Mhm.
Um, in you know, in that sense, the teacher just broke it down week by week. We just had workshops. And then by the end of it, boom, here's the 10-page paper. Same thing here. It was like, hey, here's week by week, here's something, a little building step, build stone, whatever you want to say.
Building blocks. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. There you go. Ooh, that was a big thought. Building block, to get to those goals and to highlight strengths and weaknesses and to make me think a little bit harder. So having that organization from A to Z essentially was really nice. The other piece about it was just like like I said, I coach soccer, so I was like didn't know what to expect from here as far as like personal relationships and things like that. But you made me feel welcome from the start, and then when we finally had some more people hop into the group, it was really nice to create those relationships with people who are some of them twice my age, but still feeling like we're on that same journey together, even if they're at a different milestone in their business.
So it sounds a little bit like, yes, it's the program. You create your own goals, and then I help you break down the blocks to get there. And then also
Mhm.
the community of support of other business owners on the same journey.
Yeah, because it's definitely really alienating to run your own business. Like I think back to when I was an employee, like at the coffee shop I worked at, I was like, oh, hey, I had all these friends. I was like, hey, all these coworkers are my friends. And when I started this business, it was just me. And I'm like, I didn't have coworkers, I didn't have friends, I didn't have a support system that I could rely on day in and day out. And even as I added employees, I didn't have a support system. They don't understand the financial backing of the business. They don't understand the strategic marketing and things like that. But having a group of business owners to meet with weekly who did and who are all along the same journey with the modules and everything was really, really nice.
And then I know like being able to just ask me questions too, because we were just chatting about how it to have that as an ongoing program as well.
Mhm.
Just come to me for insight and personalized responses to your questions.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think, there's major milestones that I feel like every business goes through and every business owner can relate to, but there's also ones that feel super individual, and maybe they are individual and maybe they aren't. But having somebody who at least has resources, like whenever I asked a question, is here's a book, here's a podcast, something if you didn't know the answer.
Mhm.
And I really enjoyed that. Like I never felt like I didn't have support or information from you specifically.
Awesome. So what has coaching together allowed you to do?
I think refining my goals, like we did goal setting as part of it. I was able to break down, what do I want by the end of 2022, 2023, and then more of like the broad 5-year, 10-year goals. Even with that, I was like, okay, this is a lot to think about. So then you have the 90-day goal worksheet that we worked through, and that really helped me break that down for 3 months at a time. It's like the major thing was, like I said, like outlining those goals, making sure I have actionable steps toward them and know what I want. Um, my income has increased this year. In the last, I would say like 6 months, it's about what we've been working together. Um, it's very interesting. Like a lot of it has been through those ceramic coatings. Like I've been thinking about it a lot more. I've been talking about it a lot more. And I think, in the first year and a half of business, I did like 2. And then in the last 6 months, I've done 10, 12. So, yeah, it's been a huge boost to the income piece, just with that, again, mindset of like, what are my goals? What are the things that really make me money?
Yeah. So really getting focused in on, again, it was, you had this big picture, but like, how do I get there? And so it was like, okay, here's A, here's B, and here's C. Here's the top things you need to be working on, and let's make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. And what are concrete results you receive? So money or other ROI that you've seen from coaching?
Yeah, so I mean, like I would say, like going back to the ceramic coatings, I don't know the exact numbers on them, but like I said, in the first year and a half, it was a huge focus of mine because it's a high ticket price with low to medium effort, I would say, as far as what it cost me to do it, and then time wise and things like that. And I'd only booked like 1 or 2 of them, but then in the last 6 months, I've done a lot. I found like we had that ideal client chat where I'm like, hey, what is it for me? It's those people with the sports cars that are willing to, spend their money. And I had one customer book 6 ceramic coatings on their sports cars and whatnot, because I had that mindset of, hey, here's the gold mine. I found it. And then I'm working on finding more of those clients similar to that. Outside of that, I would say, like as far as the return on investment, it's not financial, but just I feel so much more organized. Like I showed you earlier, like I have a calendar, I have that sense of accountability now. Like I have my daily, weekly, monthly goals written out, and when I'm accomplishing those, like I'm actually putting them on the calendar so I can go back and reference, like, hey, did I do it this week? Did I not do it? And then have like on this side of the wall, I have my big time goals, and like I can come through and review and like, okay, did I get it or not?
Yeah, so it's a really stepping to the next level of being a business owner too. And you had some amazing income months in there in that period because of the different things. So helping you focus and create the strategies to bring those to life.
Yeah, and I mean, like I would say like the steps that we're building, it's kind of like when you talk about your 90-day marketing reflection, like your busyness is reflective of 90 days prior. Same thing here. Like I'm setting all of these stepping stones. I'm getting the point where I'm getting ready to graduate. So that's going to be a huge thing off of my plate. I'm establishing like a mailing list, like we've talked, like an emailing list that we talked about, so I can start working on return customers. And like I am seeing, even though I've had a couple slow months, like it's, I peaked at like $8,000, which is more than I made in my first whole year, for I think that was July or August, because I'm getting these stepping stones down. And like with that too, like when people ask me to go out and do things like we talked about establishing a weekend and things like that, and time setting, all this. It's like, hey, I'm feeling a little bit more in control rather than like a chicken with my head cut off, running around trying to accomplish every task.
Yeah, it's the foundational parts of the business. So the now you're ready for the next level. You've got the foundation strong. And I guess this ties into, how does it feel internally as a result of our work? And I think you answered that a little bit.
It feels really good. I mean, like I feel a lot more calm. Like even like, I mean, I'll have days where things come up. Like we had the pressure washer hose broke, or I had to go pick up a client's car because we miscommunicated or something like that. It's like, even on those days, I'm able to be like, okay, hey, I've got under control, go take care of this 15-minute problem, and then come back to what I was working on. Rather than just not knowing what I'm doing one way or the other.
A full-time employee now or a full employee that you didn't have last year, that you've been able to manage and sort of be running the business as a CEO as well.
Yeah, that's been super nice. And like, I've asked a bunch of questions on that, just how to manage people, because it's like, I look at his portion of it, like, okay, what is he making? If I was doing the work, how would this look different for me? Obviously I'd be making more money because I wouldn't have to pay the employee, but then my life would be a lot more difficult. And I think you were with somebody who really helped me get to that realization, that like, I was spread 87 ways to Sunday, trying to do everything I needed to do. And like, yes, hiring somebody to do advertising while I'm super busy, it was a lot of money, but it kept me in the groove. It let me do other things while they were tackling that. Hiring somebody to do the work itself, the detailing. It's like, yes, I would be working. We just did a 15-hour project on a BMW that's sitting out front. I would have worked 15 hours on that project, but instead I was able to do my homework or like go to meetings or things like that, which is a lot of stuff that we worked on.
Yeah. And it's really getting to the next level in your business and having those, what are your areas of focus? What is your areas of specialty, and where do you want to be spending your time, and building that business for future potential, which is what you want it to do, is grow.
Yeah. Well, like, like I said about building the building blocks right now, my pipeline is like 5 ceramic coatings, and one of that's there's a 45-foot RV that's going to be a $4,000 job. There's a 25-foot RV that's a $3,000 job. Like, these are huge income goals that I've had. Like that one RV filled up my income goal for the month, just like that.
When we started, you didn't even have a ceramic coating job on the calendar. Now you got multiples.
Yeah. And it's, that's the thing that I'm trying to gear the business toward. And like I said, it was just that mindset of like manifesting ceramic coatings, talking about it, being vocal about it, like believing in the product and the price point and things like that.
Yeah. So what makes working with me different than other things you tried in your business?
I think I am an interaction person. I'll read books, and I have to be really active when I'm reading books, like taking notes specifically. Otherwise my brain just, it's gone. Like I'll read it, it's gone. Listening to podcasts, if I'm doing something, same thing. Like I'll listen, I'll get a couple of main points, maybe I'll jot them down, but I won't get there. But like with you, I have a binder's worth of material that I can now go back through and like, okay, even if it was goal setting, what were my goals when we started in March versus what is it now? What does it look like? All the chakras, the things like that. I have this volume of info. And then, unlike a book, you talk back. So I ask you a question, I can get an answer, or, be able to have some sort of back and forth about what's going on, rather than just here's XYZ person's way that they did it, go do it kind of thing. The other piece, I think you really helped establish that community piece, because I was sitting here like there's nobody else in town. Like, look at all these successful businesses, and then here I am as the new kid on the block. What am I gonna do? And so like being able to work with you and get that community piece was really nice.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's really a big piece of what I've created this around is I've been in coaching programs too, where you don't get personalized time and you're just sitting struggling. How do I apply this to me? Yes, I get it, but how do I apply it to me? And so that was always a big priority when I created this is one, you always get my time. And two, doing it with other business owners in a small group so that you grow together and get the best of both worlds. And so do you feel like I always like showed up in the way that you needed and provided the support you needed?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, even for things that sometimes it was like bordering on a therapy session, where it's just like, just listening to whatever the hell I had to say. It was super nice to just know like consistently Monday at 10, I've got a meeting where I'm going to talk about wins and the fun things I'm doing and like having those mindset pieces to start it off and then hearing other people's stories and whatnot. It was always nice if I texted you as a timely response and things like that, or email or whatever. And again, it was always met with either positive reinforcement when I'm like, hell yeah, I just booked 6 ceramic coatings or whatever, had an $8,000 a month, or like, hey, like I'm really struggling right now. And you were like, hey, we had that back and forth a little bit of like, hey, I'm struggling in the business and I just, I'm losing a little focus or whatever. And then you helped me to just kind of like stay in it and like find, it wasn't like, I don't know how to put it. It wasn't like, hey, do it, you're going to be fine, just get through it. It was like, hey, just think about like, what's the good, what's the bad, what do you define as work, things like that. Rather than like trying to steer me in a direction, it was open-ended, but still like allowed me to do more thinking and really, I like isolate what was going on.
Yeah, it's not like a one solution fix all. It's here's the best strategies and I'll help you get there. And the best answer and I'll just help you find the solution too.
Yeah, precisely.
Very awesome. Anything else you wanted to add that we didn't cover?
No, really. No, I think it was pretty comprehensive. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this, being part of the coaching program and being willing to share. And I appreciate you so much.
Of course.
Bye.
See you.